Well, good morning, my friends. Sorry, I just just ate a powdered donut and it went down the wrong way. And my goodness, my nose looks huge. Is it just me? Anyway, how is everyone doing on this Tuesday, June the 2nd morning? You know, instead of my usual CNN good news, can I just start out with just some words of reflection from myself? We are living in unprecedented times. And for me, we watch the news and see what's happening, and it really takes me back. It reminds me a lot of the 60s and the 50s. And it's amazing to me how, they say history repeats itself, and it kind of seems like it does sometimes. Because, here we are in 2020, and we are still fighting the same freaking fight. And it blows my mind. Can I just say that out loud? I just want to just put that out into the universe. It blows my mind that we are still living in a world where people are still being judged by the color of their skin. People are still being treated less than, and there's many reasons that people are judged, but the race thing seems to be very prevalent right now, obviously. Since George Floyd's death. And this whole thing that's happening right now, it is heartbreaking. And just know, whatever you're feeling, we're all feeling this together as we try to be the best humans we can be. And sometimes we fail miserably. And I think about all the protesting and the riots, and I want to just give props to all of you who have been out there on the front lines, who have been out there holding the picket signs, who have been out there risking your lives. Some of you have gotten hurt by going to the protests, and I just want to give props to you for doing that. I mean, that's awesome. And I just want to be honest. I know that not all of us have that. I don't want to say desire, because I do. But all of us may not be called to be on the front lines and to march. There's other ways that we can stand up for what's right, even from our own homes, from whatever circumstance you find yourself in. Because I know that I use Facebook, I use my sermons as a platform. But as for me, I'm just being honest, I don't feel a particular strong call to go out and protest with you. Just know I'm protesting in my own way. I know, and I may not be the only one that feels that way. And just know that even if you don't feel safe enough to go out and be in the front lines, just know that there are so many different ways that you can protest against hate without having to go into the streets. You can take to the streets of Facebook. You can write your leaders, your government leaders. There's so many different ways to stand up against hate. You don't have to actually go out and into the dangerous streets if you don't want to. So for me, that's just my own personal take. And when I see how violent it is, I just don't, yeah. And for some reason I'm like, oh, is that bad that I don't want to be out in the front lines? But I feel like there's more than one front line, if that makes sense. It's not just about going out and being part of the riots. It's also about staying back and doing what you can in your own world to make it better. So for me, let me just say that this world right now is just a big mess. At least America is. And so it's frustrating. It's frustrating that we keep coming back to this. And so let's just take a moment now and just pray, right? God, a simple prayer, because I don't know what else to say except, Lord, be with us. And let us pray the prayer that Jesus taught us, if you wish. Our Father and Mother who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Let's take a deep breath, shall we? All right. Let's hear a little bit from this. You stoke the fires of creativity with humility, gratitude, and awareness. You need to ask for the gift to be directed. Writing is a spiritual process. To be a creator, you need to connect with the creator. And this one, why do I use a drum? And the person responds, to touch the earth. Then why do I sing with it? To allow the earth to touch you. What am I singing for? So that someday you might sing the one note that joins your heartbeat and the earth's heartbeat to the heartbeat of everything. You're saying the drumming and singing and anything that leads me inward and then outward are just like praying and meditating? You are getting wiser. And so, without further ado, I know things are messy. And so today is a perfect day to talk about our woman of the day. Excuse me. Maya Angelou. She is one of my favorite writers, and just some of her quotes. My mission in life is not merely to survive, but to thrive. You know what would be kind of cool? Hold on. While I'm talking about her, let me see if I can make this work. Another quote that she says is, I know why the caged birds sing. Very profound quote. And then she says, if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, then change your attitude. And so she is an amazing woman. Just very brilliant. There she is, at a younger age. There she is right there. So let's hear about Maya Angelou. I was going to try to show a picture of her online, but my internet's being kind of slow. So Marguerite Annie Johnson was born in 1928 in St. Louis, Missouri. After her parents separated, she and her brother Bailey were sent to live with their grandma in the town of Stamps, Arkansas. Bailey couldn't pronounce Marguerite, so he called her Maya, and the nickname stuck. Then a terrible thing happened. When Maya was 7 and the children were home visiting their mom, Maya was viciously attacked by her mother's boyfriend. She was so shocked and hurt by what happened that she stopped speaking for 5 years. Back in Stamps, her grandma's friend, Mrs. Flowers, introduced Maya to books and taught Maya that some books needed to be read aloud, and Maya slowly found her voice again. Maya was a brilliant child and did well in school. Books and words became her safe place, where she felt happy and safe and free. When she was a teen, Maya moved to San Francisco, where she earned a scholarship to study dance and acting. She became the first woman and the first African American to work as a tram conductor. After she had a baby boy, Guy, she did all sorts of jobs to support herself. And then she married a Greek sailor named Anastasios Angelopoulos and used his name to create her professional name, Maya Angelou. During the 50s, she was a successful performer, appearing in the famous opera Porgy and Bess and many other stage productions, but she poured even more of her energy into her work as a civil rights activist, working for equal treatment for African Americans, as well as trying to stop violence against women. Despite her successful career as an actor in the U.S., Maya was moved abroad in the 60s, first to Egypt and then to Ghana, before returning to America. And she says, my mission, did I say this one? My mission is not merely to survive, but to thrive. Maya, she continued to write, but it was not until her friend, the novelist James Baldwin, who encouraged her to tell the story of her life, that Maya began to change history. In 1969, her memoir about her childhood and teen years, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, became the first best-selling nonfiction book written by a female African-American writer. She became an international sensation and went on to write many award-winning plays, scripts, essays, cookbooks, children's books, several volumes of poetry, and 5 more autobiographical works about her fascinating life. She wrote and recited her poem On the Pulse of the Morning for President Bill Clinton's inauguration. She became one of the most successful writers in the world. Of her 36 books, 30 were bestsellers. She continued to break boundaries and take brave steps into new places. She became Hollywood's first black female screenplay writer. She received 50 honorary degrees in multiple literary and other routes, including an Emmy for her role in the film Roots. Maya's life was always tinged with sadness, though, from the terrible events of her childhood to the racial abuse that she suffered in Arkansas. Her journey was not an easy one. When her friend, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., was killed on her birthday, she stopped celebrating her birthday for many years. But in spite of the sadness, she was a survivor. Strong, funny, vibrant woman who surrounded herself with friends, explored the world, and changed many lives with her writing and incredible speaking. This little girl who had no voice became one of the most powerful speakers in the world. With rich, deep tones, Maya read her work aloud to packed audiences everywhere. Through her writing and her work, she fought for fair treatment for everyone, exploring African American history and celebrating women. Writer, actor, screenwriter, dancer, historian, traveler, teacher, trailblazer, poet, friend, Maya was, in the words of her poem, a truly phenomenal woman, which I totally agree. And so tomorrow, our woman of the day will be Georgia O'Keeffe. She was a painter, a famous painter. And so what I love about Maya Angelou is that she didn't speak for a while, and then she found her voice. And I love that. Because it makes me think of the movie The Hate You Give. It's based on a book too, where throughout the book, the main character struggles with finding her voice, finding what she needs to be doing in the midst of all the racial tension that existed all around her. And in that movie, there's riots too. And there's this powerful scene in that movie. And this, keeping in mind that the main character in The Hate You Give is a senior in high school, so a teen. There's this powerful scene where she stands up on this car and she just starts yelling. And it was like that moment where she's like, I've had enough. And that's kind of what I think is happening. You know, people are being crazy. I know that. I mean, I know things are getting violent. The looting, I could do away with the looting if that's what's happening. But the rioting and the throwing things and the screaming and the yelling, I feel like that's justified. I mean, how in the hell are we supposed to get people's attention, right? I feel like, I don't know. People are just needing to be seen. And when people are angry. And, you know, in The Hate You Give, there's a moment where she gets so frustrated that she actually picks up a tear gas thing or whatever it is that cops throw, and actually throws it because when she throws it, she just lets out this guttural, that's the right word, scream, because she's frustrated. And so I anger and frustration, I think, is what is, I don't know, what is motivating people right now. So we're just in heightened times right now. We're all on edge because of the coronavirus, but add all this, I read a funny thing where it said, where they joked and said the people that just went to space are probably lucky. Or as a joke, they even said something about the coronavirus leaving America because they don't want any part of that. But so anyway, sorry, I sometimes want to get on my soapbox and stand on it for a while. But let's read a little bit of Hunger Games, shall we? All right. So we know that Katniss found, she's frustrated, and what does she do out of frustration? She shot an arrow into a pig, into the apple, into a stuffed pig, and she shot the arrow right out of the pig's mouth of an apple. Yeah. Anyway, that's a great scene from Hunger Games. So let's continue on. As I stride toward the elevator, I fling my bow to one side and my quiver to the other. I brush past the gaping Avoxes who guard the elevators and hit the number 12 button with my fist. The doors slide together and I zip upward. I actually make it back to my floor before the tears start running down my cheeks. I can hear the others calling me from the sitting room, but I fly down the hall, into my room, bolt the door and fling myself onto my bed. Then I really begin to sob. Now I've done it. I've ruined everything. If I'd stood even a ghost of a chance, it vanished when I sent that arrow flying at the game makers. What will they do to me now? Arrest me? Execute me? Cut my tongue and turn me into an Avox so I can wait on the future tributes of Panem? What was I thinking? Shooting at the game makers. Of course I wasn't. I was shooting at that apple because I was so angry at being ignored. I wasn't trying to kill one of them. If I were, they'd be dead. Oh, what does it matter? It's not like I was going to win the games anyway. Who cares what they do to me? What really scares me is what they might do to my mother and Prem. How my family might suffer now because of my impulsiveness. Will they take their few belongings? Or send my mother to prison and Prim to the community home, or kill them? They wouldn't kill them, would they? Why not? What do they care? I should have stayed and apologized or laughed. It was like it was a big joke. Then maybe I would have found some leniency. But instead, I stalked out of the place in the most disrespectful manner possible. Hey, Mitch and Effie are knocking on my door. I shout for them to go away, and eventually they do. It takes at least an hour for me to cry myself out. Then I just lie curled up on the bed, stroking the silken sheets, watching the sunset down over the artificial candy capital. At first, I expect guards to come for me, but as time passes, it seems less likely. I calm down. They still need a girl tribute from District 12, don't they? If the game makers want to punish me, they can do it publicly. Wait until I'm in the arena and 6 starving animals on me. You can bet they'll make sure I don't have a bow and arrow to defend myself. Before that, though, they'll give me a score so low, so no one in their right mind would sponsor me. That's what will happen tonight. Since the training isn't open to viewers, the game makers announce a score for each player. It gives the audience a starting place for the betting that will continue throughout the games. The number, which is between 1 and 12, 1 being irredeemably to be bad, and 12 being unattainably high, signifies the prowess of the tribute. The mark is not a guarantee of which person will win. It's only an indication of the potential a tribute showed in training. Often, because of the variables in the actual arena, high-scoring tributes go down almost immediately. And a few years ago, the boy who won the games only received a 3. Still, the scores can help or hurt an individual tribute in terms of sponsorship. I had been hoping my shooting skills might get me a 6 or a 7, even if I'm not particularly powerful. Now, I'm sure I'll have the lowest score of the 24 if no one sponsors me. My odds of staying alive decrease to almost 0. When Effie taps on the door to call me to dinner, I decide I may as well go. The scores will be televised tonight. It's not like I can hide what happened forever. I go to the bathroom and wash my face, but it's still red and splotchy. Everyone's waiting at the table, even Cinna and Portia. I wish the stylist hadn't shown up because for some reason I don't like the idea of disappointing them. It's as if I've thrown away all the good work they did on the opening ceremonies without a thought. I avoid looking at anyone as I take tiny spoonfuls of fish soup. The saltiness reminds me of my tears. The adults begin some chit-chat about the weather forecast, and I let my eyes meet Peter's. He raises his eyebrows. A question. What happened? I just give my head a small shake. Then as they're serving the main course, I hear Haymitch says, okay, so enough small talk. Just how bad were you today? Peter jumps in. I don't know that it mattered, but by the time I showed up, no one even bothered to look at me. They were singing some kind of drinking song, I think, so I threw around some heavy objects until they told me I could go. That makes me feel a little bit better. It's not like Peter attacked the game makers, but at least he was provoked too. And you, sweetheart, says Haymitch. Somehow Haymitch calling me sweetheart ticks me off enough that I'm at least able to speak. I shot an arrow at the game makers. Everyone stops eating. You what? The horror in Effie's voice confirms my worst suspicions. I shot an arrow at them, not exactly at them, in their direction. It's like Peter said, I was shooting and they were ignoring me, and I don't know, I just lost my head. So I shot an apple out of that stupid pig's mouth. And what did they say? Nothing, or I don't know, I walked out after that. Without being dismissed? I dismissed myself. I said, I remember how I promised Prem that I would really try to win, and I feel like a ton of coal has dropped on me. Well, that's that, says Haymitch. Then he butters a roll. Do you think they'll arrest me? Doubt it. Be a pain to replace you at this stage, says Haymitch. What about my family? Will they punish them? Don't think so. It wouldn't make much sense. See, they'd have to reveal what happened in the training center for it to have any worthwhile effect on the population. People would need to know what you did, but they can't since it's a secret, so it'd be a waste of effort. More likely, they'll make your life hell in the arena. Well, they've already promised to do that to us anyway, says Peter. Very true, says Haymitch. And I realize the impossible has happened. They've actually cheered me up. Haymitch picks up a pork chop with his fingers, which makes Effie frown, and dunks it in his wine. Yummy. He rips off a hunk of meat and starts to chuckle. What were their faces like? I can feel the edges of my mouth tilting up. Shocked. Terrified. Ridiculous, some of them? An image pops into my mind. One man even tripped backward into a bowl of punch. Haymitch guffaws, and we all start laughing except Effie, although she is suppressing a smile. Well, it serves them right. It's their job to pay attention to you, and just because you come from District 12 is no excuse to ignore you. Then her eyes dart around as if she said something totally outrageous. Effie said, I'm sorry, but that's what I think. She says to no one in particular. I'll get a very bad score, I say. Scores only matter if they're very good. No one pays much attention to the bad or mediocre ones. For all they know, you could be hiding your talents to get a low score on purpose. People do use that strategy. And so that concludes today's portion of Hunger Games. Tomorrow we'll finish this chapter and we'll find out the score that Katniss gets. And so, my friends, I do wish you well. Keep loving out there. Keep safe. And just remember, we're in this together. God bless you.